Hey, so for today's project, someone came by the other day and gave me a hedge trimmer that it's not currently running in the running state. So it's a weed eater, and I looked it up on Facebook Marketplace, and they're going used on Marketplace for about 20 bucks. So we talked about, Carolyn and I talked about, do we want to invest any money in this? And the answer is probably no, unless we have the parts on hand. And they're cheap, like hoses and different things. If it runs after we do these things that I have parts for, then that's great. If not, then we'll probably just maybe use it for parts or something. So the obvious thing that I noticed right away, and my finger actually knocked them off, is the fuel lines are all, one of them I busted off by accident. So that fuel line is got to be replaced. This other one, I guess while I'm in it, we'll go ahead and replace it also. Oh, here it is. This is the one. Depending on how hard it is, I suppose. And then we also have the priming bulb that is completely gone. So I do have those parts available that I could replace if we can get it to start using starting fluid. If it doesn't start with starting fluid, then it's got some other issue that we probably don't even want to really investigate. So we'll take the air filter off. Well, that's a bummer. That's a part I don't have. I don't even know if I can make it one out of anything. Okay, so it did start. Alright, so I guess that means we proceed with the hoses. But I do have to figure out what I'm going to do about the air filter. I don't know, I'll look around and see if I got anything that I can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these torque screws out right here. Okay, very good, very good. This means, okay, so that's great. The hose is right there. Nope. What I do to get these to fit through that little hole is I cut these hoses in half. So then we cut one of these off kind of at a angle. So now you kind of have like a spear. And then I will spear this up a little bit on the tip. So that should be able to go down into that hole. I know my hands are in the way. It's just part of the problem, but you can see now that that spear was able to get into that hole. So then I can grab it with my fancy doctor scissors. Okay, so once you get a good grip on it with your fancy doctor scissors, then you just start kind of twisting to take the slack out of it and pull. Twist and pull. Twist. Oops. And then we can see how long it is. Untwist it all. See how much we got in there. Okay, so it is coming out of the tank now. Okay, so I got both hoses in now. They both reach. So what I'm going to do now is change out the priming bulb so I can figure out which one is the suction and which one is the discharge, because I want to make sure that I get the fuel filter onto the correct hose. So it's just 2 screws that come out. Okay, so I'm glad we got into I'm glad this carburetor works like this, because once I got into it, there is the intake of the carburetor. It's pretty dirty, so I'm going to get some carb cleaner, try to clean that out without getting everything else messed up. The diaphragm on this actually feels pretty good. It doesn't feel dried out too bad. It might be an option, if this thing doesn't run, to try to clean that carb a little better. I don't typically do it to 2-cycle engines because, one, there's only about a 50% chance it's going to work, and 2, aftermarket carburetors are so cheap it's usually not worth it. But since we're not going to spend any money on this, if it doesn't work, we'll see what we can do. Okay, so before you fill it up with gas, you want to make sure you get all the stuff out of the gas tank that is falling off. This is the retainer because of the discharge hose. You put this at the end of the discharge hose. That keeps it from pulling out. The other hose gets the air or the fuel filter. Okay, so now we're going to see which one pulls the gas in. Okay, so this one pulls the gas in. So we'll put the fuel filter on that one. Try to do it with gas in it. I usually dump it out, but I'm going to try to get it without dumping it out just to be lazy. So now I have the hose out. I'm going to confirm that this is the suction that should. Yep, now we have air coming into it. So I'll put the fuel filter there. Pop that one down in there. And we'll pull this other one out because we got to put that retainer in there. I made the hose so long it really doesn't need a retainer, but since we have it, we'll put it in there. Okay, I'm going to put in a couple of these screws just to hold in place so I can get the hoses back into the area it's supposed to be without getting squished. So I'm just going to put this back one in, I think. Kind of hold it in place. So I don't know how well you're going to see it, but there's a groove that these have to go in. I may have just done it. Look at that. That screw may have made all the difference in the world. Okay, so now we'll prime it again. I'm going to put a little starting fluid in it just to give it a good shot at being able to start. It's not running perfectly. That's it. I'm running on half throttle, or half choke I should say. I got a zip tie here holding the throttle, so I didn't have to deal with that. And what it is the diaphragm gets dried out in there. As I've seen it done before, I've done it before I should say, that if you sit there with full throttle and you play with the choke, that you can get that diaphragm to moisten back up. So that's what I've been trying to do, and it's not working. Well, it's working a little bit, I should say. It's gotten a lot better. The other thing I have done is, after I've done this, I will let it sit for 24 hours, and then I'll see if it has moistened up any the next day, because that gas is going to sit in that carburetor overnight, or for 24 hours. But it is running, and it's definitely a carburetor issue. So, I'll talk to Carolyn and see if she wants to put money into it. I don't think it really is something we should do, but if she wants it, I'll definitely do it. If she doesn't want it, then we won't do anything to it. It was kind of a neat project. If we decide to use it for parts, I'm definitely taking my hose and priming bulb back off. I can use those on other projects. Alright, so it's a few hours later. I don't know, it's the afternoon now. It was early morning when I started on this project. So the diaphragm did loosen up. I had to clean the carburetor a couple times. The gunk kept getting into the little area where I sprayed. Working great now. The air filter, I found an old lawnmower. Well, I have an old lawnmower. I found the filter in. I cut it out to fit, and it works. So now I have an air filter. I didn't have to order any parts. So Carolyn did say she wanted to keep it. So she has now gotten a free hedge trimmer that works. So if you'll click this up next box, take you to the video where I was working on something, so I can inspire you to give it a shot when you live in your dreams. Thanks for watching.